everyone, welcome or indeed welcome back to the channel. If you are new, don't forget to hit subscribe because today I am taking you through my best and worst of beauty for the month of July. Yes, you have indeed tuned into the correct month. It is July. I don't know what's going on here. I think this is some kind of semi-protest about the fact that I do love the summer, but I've kind of got a bit bored of wearing summer colours and stuff. So this is new. I'm not sure what I'm thinking about it because I kind of look at it and feel like it looks a little bit like a string vest, but I've got it on anyway. I do quite like it though. This is the first time I've worn it without anything but undies on underneath. Usually I wear a vest or something, but I was obviously thinking about doing something a little bit different today. Hence this situation as well. This is one of the NYX soft matte lip creams I picked up, and this is in the darker shade. This is in Copenhagen and I really quite like it. But I'm definitely rocking some kind of more autumn winter style colour scheme today, and it's absolutely beautiful outside, but I just kind of put this top on and I went with it basically. So, like I said, this is my best and worst of beauty for the month of July. It has been such a month of things which, oh my goodness. If you didn't know, I had my birthday in July, so did my husband and also some other people in my family as well. So it's always quite a busy month in July. But my birthday itself was an absolute disaster. I don't know if you saw any of my general moaning on Facebook or anything, but basically I hurt my back somehow and I was just in pain like all day. So my birthday was a bit of a write-off. We did manage to have a bit of a nice week, but I was in pain pretty much the whole week, so it was a bit rubbish to be honest. But anyway, this month is pretty much done with now. I'm ready to take on August. I am now flying solo with my son because the first week of the school holidays my husband did take that week off. I now face a stretch of 6 weeks with just the two of us, my husband being back at work, and so far, not that I'm very far into it, it's been a mixture of like quite challenging and also quite fun, and it's going to be really busy. I think he has really high expectations of what we should be doing every single day. So I am obviously still going to be fitting in filming as and when I can. The boy is currently out playing in the garden, so fingers crossed this is how it will go for the rest of the summer, and it will be really smooth and you guys won't even notice a difference when it comes to filming. That is the hope anyway. So if my schedule does get a bit erratic or I may seem a bit funny, that is why. It's because my 3.5-year-old, who is usually in his preschool whilst I'm filming, is actually at home. In the past it's never been much of an issue before, but now that he's that bit older. Anyway, let's jump into what I've been using in the month of July and what I've thought of it. The first thing I've got here is this oil from Tarte. It's their very well known Maracuja Oil, and this is something I have wanted to get my hands on for such a long time. I feel like I see it everywhere on social media, and when I recently did a sale haul with them, this was included in one of the packs that I bought, and it was actually a pretty generous size. I wasn't expecting it to be as big as this. This is 15ml in here, and I've been using this every single evening, and I'm down to about here, so I'm hoping it is going to last me a fairly decent time. I really love using oils in the evening as part of my evening skincare routine. I do have an oil from The Ordinary that I was using, which was the rosehip seed oil, I think it is, and I've tried a few other oils as well, but this is the one that I've always wanted to try because it just sounded really nice. So I was really happy to have picked one up in the sale as well. This size normally retails for £13. You can actually buy this size on its own from the Tarte website, or if you want the full size one, that will cost you £38 for 50ml. I was quite curious as to what Maracuja oil actually was because I haven't really seen that word or term used anywhere else other than Tarte. And when I googled it, I actually found that this is passion flower oil, which I really wasn't expecting, and it's a passion flower that's very specific to the Amazon and Brazil kind of area. So I was really excited about that because I just thought it was some kind of nut or something. I'm not sure why. As you may well know and probably be able to see right now, I do have an acne scar here, which was from a really nasty cystic acne breakout that I had ages ago now, and I've been applying lots of different products to it just to try and get it to heal a little bit better, and I've definitely noticed a difference since using the Maracuja oil. I don't think it's any kind of placebo or anything. Literally within a few days I'm sure that this has started to fade, so I'm really happy about that, because although it's quite handy to have things like this to cover up for when I do my foundation test videos, it's just frustrating where it is, because when I put my blush on top it usually wipes away any base product that I've got or concealer, and it's just very frustrating. Another thing that I really like about this oil is the fact that it sinks into the skin really nicely as well. Apparently this is really good if you've got dry skin, and I've also used it on my cuticles as well. I've basically just been plastering this stuff everywhere and I just can't seem to get enough of it. I've really enjoyed using it. I definitely want to try other oils, and like I said, I do have the ordinary rosehip seed oil that I need to use up once this one has run out. But this one has just been a pleasure to pick up and use on a nightly basis. And I think it's actually quite affordable in terms of how much product you're getting to what little you actually need. And I only do use this in the evening, so I think it will probably last me quite a while. Next up, and also from Tarte, is this BB cream / primer, because when I first used this I didn't even realise it was a primer, and then I started looking at reviews online just to see what the general consensus was, and quite a few people also didn't realise it was a primer as well, even though it says it right on the front. It says 12-hour primer. I originally featured this in my full face of first impressions, I think it was, and I just picked this up thinking, I'm sure it'll be okay. It's a Tarte BB cream. I've heard good things about it, but you know, I won't have my expectations too high. Well, I have been using this every single day. Every single day I've been wanting to reach for this, and there's a few different reasons for that. One, I just love how it goes on. It goes on so effortlessly. It provides a really nice level of coverage, and I am wearing it today. It wears really well if you've got oily skin. If you've got dry skin, you will need to tread very carefully with it, because any dry areas that I've got at all, and I've got a few sort of around my nose at the moment, and in this kind of region which is usually dry for me, it does cling to, so you need to tread carefully with it and really make sure that your skin is primed really well with a good moisturiser. Even though technically this is a primer and a BB cream, so you should just be able to throw it straight on your face, but just within my experience, that's what I've found. You will have to tread carefully with it. Another thing that I really love about this is the fact that it's got an SPF of 30, which is absolutely fantastic. I do love picking up products, whether it's a moisturiser or a BB cream or something like that, which has got the SPF built into it, because I don't really like layering tons of things onto my face, because I think when you've got oily skin it can get weighed down really quickly, and I just want to minimise the risk of me going super oily, so I try not to put too many layers on if at all possible. But this has been the surprise of the month, really. I did have fairly low expectations. I didn't know a huge amount about it, but what I did know was that people generally quite liked it. But I just thought, I'm sure it'll just be a nice BB cream. But what I wasn't expecting was it to wear so well, to the point that by the end of the day I wasn't excessively oily. I looked a bit glowy, but it was definitely manageable, and my skin just felt really comfortable and looked naturally really quite nice. It will not give you flawless coverage, and yes, you can build it up to an extent, but I always find that there is still stuff peeking through, and if you want to see application and how it looks and all that kind of stuff, then check out my full face of first impressions video, because I have shown some cutaways of what the actual coverage is like. So it's definitely not going to offer you that kind of flawless coverage, but for this time of year it's perfect to just quickly pop on your face. You've already got yourself covered with the SPF if it's going to be a lovely day, which it has been quite a lot in July, which has been nice. So I have really enjoyed using this one, and I am going to be picking up the full size at some point. I would have already had it on its way to me when Tarte had their 25% off thing that they recently did, but whenever I put the code on for the 25% off, my shipping went from free to ridiculously expensive, and it made the whole thing a lot more expensive than if I just not put the code in at all. So I didn't bother getting it from Tarte. I did look at Sephora because I am hopefully going to be placing my birthday order with them at some point, but the main things that I wanted to get apparently don't ship to the UK for some reason, so that's also been a bit of a frustration. I can get it from QVC, but it does work out quite expensive because you can't just buy the BB cream on its own. You have to buy it with a brush, and then time you've added in postage and packaging, I think you're looking at about £40. So it's a bit like, oh, I'm not so sure. I do really like it though, and like I said, I've been picking this up on a daily basis, and given the fact that you don't get a huge amount here, there's just 15ml, this has actually lasted really well because generally you don't really need very much. I just literally pop a dot on my Zoeva 104 and I just buff it into the skin, and it's so easy. So it's been an absolute pleasure reaching for this on a daily basis. Next up, I have a whole collection of little things from e.l.f. here because, like I said just a moment ago, I did do a full face of first impressions, and I was actually really pleasantly surprised with the look that I actually created in the end, because I wasn't quite sure of any of the products that I was using because it was literally the first time that I'd picked most of them up, other than my eye primer, I think it was. So first of all, I've got this angled blush brush, which I think was £5, and it is quite nice and soft, and it does seem to pick up a nice amount of product and blend it onto the cheeks really nicely. So it's been really nice to actually have a proper blush brush that I can pick up and use instead of using any other brush that I've got lying around, and then I have to worry about what I've used it for beforehand, because I never really had a dedicated blush brush before. If I'm being totally honest, given the price of this, I think I would have rather spent a little bit more money and gone for the Zoeva version of this, which I think is about £13. I absolutely love Zoeva brushes. They're really good quality. The design of them is really attractive as well, whereas this definitely does look a little bit plasticky and cheap. It's not too bad, I've definitely seen worse, but the Zoeva brushes just look beautiful. They definitely look a lot more luxurious and high-end than they actually are. So I think I would rather have chosen that brush over this one. I know it's kind of more than twice the price, but really we're still talking about really affordable brushes here, and I'd much rather spend a little bit more and have a slightly better quality one, really. But you know, it's okay, it does what it's designed to do. I think for me personally, I would have just preferred to spend that little bit more and pick up something that just looks a little bit nicer. Next, I have got this brow pencil from e.l.f, and this is still classed as new if you look on their website. It's coming up as £3. Unfortunately, it only comes in 3 shades, which I think is taupe, and then like a medium brown and a dark brown, which is what this one is. And I can just about get away with it. I do have quite dark brown hair, but unfortunately with this, what has happened is because it's quite a creamy pencil, it has kind of dulled the point that was there. When I first got this, the point was really quite sharp, and I was hoping that the product was going to be waxy and stiff enough to be able to hold that point a little bit better, but it did actually blunt really quickly. I mean, you can kind of wear down one side and get a bit of a point back again, but then you're just going to be wasting product really. That's the colour of the deep brown, so you can see it is pretty dark, and on the website they classify it for people with kind of quite dark brown to black hair. What I have found is, because of the fact that I do have quite oily skin, this does slide around on my eyebrows a little bit. Not too much, this is just me kind of being critical and looking in the mirror at the end of the day, but what I find particularly is it will drift either side of this first part here, which is where I think I do have less of a concentration of brow hair anyway. This is the area that I'm trying to sort out by massaging castor oil into my brows every single night, in the hope that I'll try and grow them back a little bit. But I think what happens is, as my oils start to come through throughout the day, it obviously comes through on my brows, and it just makes the product spread just that little bit, that it makes the lines of my brows look a little bit fuzzy. So for me personally, I don't think I would probably probably pick this one up again because it's just too soft and creamy, and I just want something that's going to sit a little bit better on the brows all day long and not give me that kind of soft fuzzy edge look. That just doesn't look very good, I don't think. So I may as well keep my glasses off for a second and talk to you about this pencil that I got in a set of, I think it was about 5 different eyeliners, and they are of the shimmery persuasion. I think a lot of people, myself included, because of how the packaging looked, it made it look as though it was going to have a chunky glitter running through it. I'm actually quite relieved that this doesn't. It is more of a kind of pearlescent shimmery finish, which I much prefer, but I've been reaching for this colour in the pack on a pretty much daily basis. This is Boldly Bronze, and I absolutely love this. I didn't have anything like this already. It's quite creamy, it goes on really nicely, it lasts really nicely throughout the day as well, and I just think it looks really pretty. So I'm very excited to try the other ones that are in the pack as well, because there's a nice green, there's also a purple as well, and the set was £6. I did manage to pick it up for a lot less than that in the sale, but the regular price is £6, and I still think for the fact that you're getting, I'm pretty sure it is 5 different pencils in there, I think that is a good price, and they do seem to last pretty well throughout the day too. So I am so looking forward to trying some of the other colours at a different time during the year maybe. Lastly, from e.l.f. I have this smudge pot in the shade Crusin Chic. I didn't actually use this in my full face to first impressions because I'd already reached for this before I filmed that, because the smudge pots I was so excited to pick up. I'm a huge fan of Maybelline's colour tattoos. In fact, most kind of creamy shadow products in general I just love for doing a very quick and simple daily eye look. That's just going to be something that I can pop on very quickly and make me look a little bit more put together than perhaps I would be anyway. And most mornings I don't have time to go for a proper powder blended eyeshadow situation. Crusin Chic is one of these colours that makes it look like it's going to look a lot more bronzy browny than it actually is, but this definitely does have a kind of almost pinky mauvey vibe to it. I do have it on my eyes today, and it's one of these colours that I tend to reach for on a daily basis. I've been using this so much since I first got it. The other colour I picked up was Brownie Points, and I do like that, but it's a lot darker. It's a real kind of espresso-y kind of brown colour, so I don't tend to reach for that one quite so much just because of the fact that it is darker. But this one, kind of for a daily, very simple, natural looking eye, is actually really pretty. I was a little bit concerned that it was very similar to my Maybelline colour tattoo in On and On Bronze, and I don't know from a distance whether you'd be able to make that much of a difference out between the two of them, but for me personally, when I swatched them, I was really happy to notice that this one is definitely more sort of pinky, almost mauvey, along with the bronzy colour, whereas the On and On Bronze from Maybelline is definitely more of a goldy bronze sort of vibe, but it is pretty subtle. These generally retail for £4.50, but I managed to pick it up for, I think it was under £1.50 in the sale, which was absolutely amazing. The only thing that I don't really like about these smudge pots is the packaging. It's too small. If you've got nails, it makes it really difficult to get product out without getting it all under your nails and everything, just purely because it's just too narrow across here. I think if they redesigned it and had not quite so much product in terms of the depth of it, but had it spread out over a wider pot, that would be a much better idea. So I'm really hoping that maybe they'll do something about that in the future, because the actual formula is fantastic. It is really good. It lasts really well. It does crease if I don't use an eye primer, so that's something to be aware of if you also suffer from oily skin like I do. But in terms of the performance of it generally, it does look really nice, and it's just really quick and easy to use. Okay, just one more product to talk about now, and it is this one from SKN-RG, and it's their Cellular Repair Moisturiser, and this is in the variation for normal combination skin. And this has been such a pleasant surprise. I normally have pretty low expectations when it comes to moisturisers, because I feel like ones that are designed for oily skin just mattify and make your skin feel horrible and just really dry and dehydrated, whereas any other moisturiser that I put on my face just makes my skin feel really greasy and disgusting. So I do find it quite hard finding a nice moisturiser. I've nearly run out of Emma Hardy's Protect and Prime, which for me I regarded as a holy grail. I managed to find that through Feel Unique's Pick and Mix service, and I absolutely love it. But I do like to try new stuff every now and again, and when I saw that this was an option on, I think it was Latest in Beauty recently, I thought, right, let's give it a go. I thought that there was something wrong with this in so much as I couldn't get any product out, and when I took it apart I thought that the tube had become disconnected, but it was thanks to one of you saying that you thought it was one of these new weird pump things where you just need to bang the end and get the product to go down. You were absolutely right, and I'm so thankful to you for pointing that out to me, because this has been such a pleasant surprise, and I've been using this daily as well since I unboxed it in that unboxing video. It's just one of these moisturisers which you put it on and your skin just instantly feels comfortable, hydrated, your dry bits feel looked after, your oily bits feel looked after, and you instantly think, right, what's going to happen now basically is it's going to be great now, and then in a few hours time I'm going to be an oily mess. Well, it doesn't happen. It just stays lovely skin all day. And it's got to the point where I'm like, okay, Emma Hardy or SKN-RG, which one do I purchase again? Because I do like both of them. And I couldn't remember how much this cost. And I looked it up online and it's actually £50 pretty much for 50ml. And that is definitely more expensive than Emma Hardy's Protect and Prime. So I was like, oh no. This is the dangerous thing when you try stuff in these kind of travel or sample sizes and you like it, and then you're like, would I actually part with that much money? Because it probably would last quite a long time because there wasn't a huge amount in here. But my skin has just felt really lovely and nourished and hydrated and looked after, but it didn't go mega oily on me, which I feel is what happens with most other moisturisers, other than the Emma Hardy Protect and Prime moisturiser. So very pleasant surprise. I am not sure which one I'll be repurchasing, although in fairness I should probably work my way through a ton of samples first. So that's it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, I would really appreciate a thumbs up down below because it does really help support my channel. And if you are new and would like to subscribe to see more content like this from me in the future, I will pop a button just here so you can click it and get notified of new content as and when it gets uploaded. And if you've not seen my last video, I will pop a link to that one just up here so you can click it and check that one out too. Anyway, I hope you're all really well and I will see you again soon. Bye!